has intensified into a tropical storm as it moves northwestward over the waters east of Batanes, according to the State Weather Bureau. In its 5 p.m. bulletin, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration reports it last saw Goring 265 kilometers east of Basco, Batanes. Goring carries maximum sustained winds of 75 kilometers per hour with gustiness of up to 90 kilometers per hour. According to Pagasa, Goring may enhance the southwest monsoon or habagat starting late Saturday or Sunday. This would bring occasional rains over the western portions of Luzon. There are currently no tropical cyclone wind signals raised over the country, but the hoisting of wind signals over parts of northern Luzon may start Thursday night or Friday. Goring is seen to intensify further and may develop into a severe tropical storm. Pag-asa says Goring may become a typhoon by Saturday and is not ruling out the possibility of it becoming a super typhoon. The Office of the Ombudsman recommends the filing of graft complaints against officials of the Procurement Service of the Department of Budget and Management and Pharmally Pharmaceutical Corporation due to their involvement in allegedly anomalous contracts. In a resolution, the Ombudsman recommends the filing of 3 counts of complaints for violation of Section 3E of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act against former PS-DBM head Lloyd Christopher Lau, former PS-DBM official and Deputy Ombudsman Warren Rex Leong, and former PS-DBM official Paul Jasper de Guzman. Graft charges are also recommended against Pharmally officials Twinkle Dargani, Mohit Dargani, Lincoln Ong, and Pharmally head Huang Chuyen. Pharmally was dragged into the spotlight at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic after both the House of Representatives and the Senate investigated allegations that they overpriced face masks, face shields, and other PPEs. PS-DBM tapped Pharmally to supply the health equipment, signing an 8.7 billion peso contract despite the company having a small paid-up capital of 625,000 pesos. During the hearings, it was revealed that Pharmally sold masks to the government at 28 pesos per piece when local manufacturers were selling it at 13 pesos per piece. But government workers said the high prices were due to supply shortage at the start of the pandemic. President Bongbong Marcos says the country is doing the first step of the federal government in all but name. During the oath-taking ceremony of the new members of his political party, Partido Federal ng Pilipinas, Marcos explains the way the national government has been giving power to local governments marks the beginning of the process for federalism.
And that is, we were talking here about the federalism. And what we have started to do, kahit na in all but name, ay ating ginagawa, ay talagang ibinibigay ang discretion, ang power, ang function hanggat maaari sa pinakamababa na level na maaari natin gawin. So, we are doing the first step of the federal government for the Philippines in all but name.
According to Marcos, the power should not be centralized in Manila as it should be distributed across the country to the local governments. In January 2022, Marcos said that a federal system of government suits the Philippines, but changing the 1987 Constitution to achieve it may not be easy.
If the power centers only belong here in Manila, then pabagsakin mo yung Manila, bagsak ang buong Pilipinas. But with the power centers being given to us, to the local governments, to the local districts, and to those who are operating at the local level, and thereby bringing those power centers to many places, it makes for a more stable political structure and makes a more stable political life.
President Bongbong Marcos is declaring September 11 this year a holiday in Ilocos Norte to commemorate his father's birth anniversary. Through Proclamation Number 327, September 11 this year is declared a special non-working day in the province of Ilocos Norte to mark the 106th birth anniversary of late President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. The proclamation notes it is fitting and proper that the people of Ilocos Norte be given full opportunity to participate in the occasion and enjoy the celebration. Barely 100 days after assuming the presidency last year, Marcos declared September 12 as a special non-working holiday in Ilocos Norte, also in celebration of his father and namesake's birthday. The Interagency Council Against Trafficking is set to implement its revised guidelines for the departure of Filipinos traveling abroad starting September 3, subjecting passengers to more documentary requirements and new stricter regulations. In a recent statement, the Council explains it revised the departure protocols to combat the grave menace of human trafficking. Based on the revised guidelines, outbound Filipino travelers should prepare basic travel documents, including a valid passport, a valid visa, whenever required, boarding pass, and a confirmed return or round-trip ticket when necessary. In addition, the Immigration Office may then require the traveler to answer clarificatory questions, as well as require passengers of supporting documents depending on their category. Relevant documents may be asked of self-funded tourists, tourists with sponsors, and overseas Filipino workers. The primary immigration officer will then defer the departure of a passenger if he or she presents fraudulent, falsified, or tampered travel or supporting documents, or refuses to undergo primary inspection. Alamin naman natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Pauline Del Rosario ng Bandera. Pauline?
Hello Neil! At sa mga kabandera natin all over the universe. Heto ang latest chika. Super excited na ang aktres na si Casey Concepcion para sa muling pagsasama ng kanyang magulang na si Sharon Cuneta at Gabby Concepcion. Magkakaroon kasi ng reunion concert sina Sharon at Gabby sa darating na October 27. Sa isang interview, inamin ni Casey na dream come true ito para sa kanya, lalo na't makikita niyang magkasundo at magkaibigan ng kanyang parents. Nilinaw din ng aktres na hindi niya hinahangad na magkabalikan pa sina Sharon at Gabby. Ang gusto lang daw niya, maging masaya ang dalawa. Kung matatandaan, ikinasal sina Sharon at Gabby noong 1984. Taong 1987 naman sila naghiwalay. Sa ngayon, masaya na sa kanya-kanyang pamilya ang dating mag-asawa. Si Sharon ay kasal sa dating senador na si Kiko Pangilinan, habang si Gabby naman ay kay Genevieve Gonzalez. At yan ang latest bandera chika natin for today. Thank you, Neil!
Maraming salamat, Pauline. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. Goring intensifies into a tropical storm. Office of the Ombudsman recommends filing of graft charges against ex-officials of the Procurement Service of the Department of Budget and Management and Pharmally Pharmaceutical Corporation. And President Bongbong Marcos says the country is doing the first step of the federal government in all but name. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.